You've probably guessed as to why this is being done today. The 8 states of Northeast are going to the poll beginning the 7th of April. And of course, our state units in the 8 states are engaged in an extensive campaign going door to door to say why the BJP led NDA is best suited for the Northeast. We'll certainly be giving you a printout of all that initiatives, those initiatives which were taken under the Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji led NDA. I would just flag off a few of those initiatives which are mentioned in the printout in detail, which is necessary for us to recapitulate at this stage because the Northeast knows it and we need to remind them about it. And also the rest of the country should understand it is that kind of a special attention that the BJP has always extended towards the Northeast. And as they are going to the poll beginning the 7th of April, we certainly would want the states of the Northeast, the people of the Northeast, to hear our voice and have a discerned choice made. A choice made in favor of the BJP, because ultimately the one line which captures the way in which we'd like to deal with every part of India is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. I'm sure as senior journalists, all of you are aware that it was during Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee's time that the DONIER was created. The Department of Northeast region was created, and that was in September 2001. It took a completely fresh and a holistic approach to dealing with Northeast states, and very distinctively, a very useful clause was added to everything which was being done about the Northeast, and that is 10% of all budget from each of the ministries for expenditure in the Northeast region was set aside. And the clause that if there are unutilized resources lying, they would not lapse, but they could continue be used for the next budgetary year also. Most often you know that when the budget remains unspent, unused resources get back to the treasury and you will get the next tranche of 10% and nothing more. But here, the provision, because of the difficulties which are typical for the Northeast, the provision was made to have any unutilized leftover monies also to be carried forward without it lapsing. So that made a lot of difference for the Northeast. That initiative is purely from the NDA, and it has been well received in the Northeast. There was a separate 28-point agenda for socio-economic development of the Northeast, which was drafted and started implementation from 2000 by Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. We would like to recall the focused, way in which Northeast could be developed, and that was the plank on which the entire exercise started. The National Highway Network was extended till Silchar, and it was even further planned to go till Impal. And that plan of extension of railways was very well received by the Northeast, but unfortunately, after our term, the NDA's term was finished in 2004, till today, 10 years have passed, no rail track. I was in Impal, the complaints were on that. Not an inch of the rail track has proceeded after the 2004 departure of NDA. 50% of reduction in all excise duties leviable on the products from all the refineries in the Northeast was given so that the health of this region would be built up. That was a specifically tailored measure, which I'm not sure has been paid much attention after that. There was also this, the much talked about new exploration and licensing policies, so that you have many other regions benefit from oil and natural gas exploration in the Northeast, which was essentially drafted during the NDA period, drafted to extend to Mizoram, Nagaland, Tripura and Assam, further parts of Assam which are not already, explored. That step was a very critical step for the revival of the economy of the Northeast. And in this context, let me also add one point, that within the BJP, there is a separate cell which deals with the Northeast region, and this is a unique feature of a political party, that is BJP. No other political party has a cell which attends to issues related to the Northeast. Now, politically, all this would mean something for the Northeast, we would think so, and the way in which the BJP under NDA handled it, there are 2 or 3 important things which I'd like to highlight here. The ceasefire agreements which were worked with out of Nagaland, and also for ceasefire monitoring, a system was put in place for the Nagaland issue, and that is entirely due to the NDA. Similarly, a successful set of talks were held to conclude the problems related to the Bodoland Liberation Tigers problem, and the Bodoland Territorial Council was established in 2003 December. That's again an initiative which successfully found grounded during the NDA time. More importantly, the Northeastern Council was reinvigorated by the BJP during the NDA time, and the Northeastern Council Act itself was favorably amended in December 2002 by the BJP-led NDA. And what did that amendment mean? Sikkim was brought in as the 8th member of the 7 sisters, therefore they become Ashtalakshmi now. Empowering Council as regional planning body was for the Northeast formed by the NDA. More importantly, 12 airports have been upgraded with the Northeastern Council sharing 60% of the cost. 12 airports upgradation happened during that time. And again, 1,016 kilometers of roads were built during that period. We also looked at the security concerns of the people of the Northeast, and that is where a special attention was paid for the IMDT Act. I'll also contrast that in a while with the approach of the UPA in this matter. But the BJP worked and pursued for repealing the IMDT Act, which made a big difference to Assam. The border security related issues were also taken up by the BJP-led NDA during the NDA time. The Department of Border Management was created in the Ministry of Home Affairs in January 2004. Till then, no such ministry, special arrangement was made for the border management in those areas, and that made a lot of difference to the approach we took for handling the Northeast border-related issues. The Department of Border Management was given the work of Border Area Development Program, and that meant a lot for the Northeast. The Assam Rifles, which was into a lot of issue related to the border management, was brought under the Union Home Ministry, and this was entrusted the overall responsibility of manning the Indo-Myanmar borders. And then the fencing of Bangladesh border was given a great impetus during the BJP-led NDA. Northeast was also seen as a gateway towards the Southeast Asian nations. The most important Mekong-Ganga Cooperation Agreement was launched in November 2010, but this was part of the Look East policy on which Atal Bihari Vajpayee gave a lot of emphasis. And of course, you know the way in which we have treated the Northeast as an initiative or the gateway to deal with the Southeast Asian nations. And of course, you've heard our Prime Ministerial candidate, Shri Narendra Modi, talk about how not an inch of territory in the Northeast would be sacrificed. We shall work for the territorial integrity of the region. Made sure that China got the message that we take our borders very seriously. He spoke about the Jal Shakti, which is the area's strength. So much water available, but people in parts of Northeast are still starved for drinking water. So there shall be, and also this perennial flooding problem, which we have to take care of. So it's important for us to understand on the water, there's already a very big thinking about controlling floods on the one hand, but providing water for drinking on the other hand, especially Brahmaputra being one of the biggest rivers, cause of floods. But if you compare it, off the cuff, I'm saying maybe not exact numbers. On the Ganges, on Ganga, there are nearly 12 large bridges, whereas Brahmaputra probably has only 2. And that is something which one has to look at from the point of view of mobility in the Northeast, which is frequently affected with floods. Police reforms, so that there is a greater efficient police system available for the Northeast. And you'll remember the initiative Sri Narendra Modi had taken in inviting nearly 1,600 women to join for training in Gujarat itself, so that 200 from each of the 8 states would join in to empower women in security related matters. Essentially following the same track as Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee, we hope to deal with Northeast once we come to power in 2014, so that there is a greater integration and also development of the area. Very quickly, with about 3 or 4 points, I'd like to contrast all that I've claimed, and there are many more, with what is happening in the UPA. The Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, in 2005, May, if I remember correct, did a review of the Assam Accord and assured the fullest possible implementation of that accord, but till today there's nothing moving on it. There's quite a lot of anger in Assam that the Prime Minister, who represents the state in the Rajya Sabha, having done that review as early as 2005, has failed the state till today, and only misleading claims are being made as regards Assam Accord, which is a very serious issue. Prime Minister also in 2007 gave a promise that the Trans-Arunachal Highway, for which 24,000 crores of rupees was allocated, it is in total standstill, nothing is moving on it. Third, he also announced the Majuli project. God only knows what is happening on that Majuli project. It's all in paper, there's nothing happening over it. Prime Minister again represents Assam. You know, Kokrajhar in July 2012 was an international news because of the displacement of about 2.5 lakh people. What am I speaking about Kokrajhar now, you may ask? The prime accused till today is not even arrested. What is this kind of a justice for the people of Assam? Dr. Manmohan Singh, you after all represent that state in the Rajya Sabha. Neither on security, nor on development, nor on people's issues, there is any response coming from Dr. Manmohan Singh. And to contrast again, Nagaland, in Aizawl, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee had visited, not just visited, stayed there for over 2 days, and also other parts of Northeast. But in Nagaland, I remember Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji stayed for 2 days and returned. Why am I emphasizing on this point? In his 10 years as Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh has not even visited Nagaland once. He has not visited Nagaland even once. That's the contrast I would wish to say, because of the 8 states of the Northeast, he may have visited all the 7. But Nagaland, for some unfortunate reason, has not drawn his attention at all. No, he visited Kohima. The emphasis there is on visit to Nagaland. Of course, he visited all other parts, but he stayed in Kohima for 2 days. Yeah. Again, on the point of the rail line, which was discussed even in 2004, Silchar, and further down to Impal, no progress at all. I can list many more such failings of the Congress-led UPA in having led down the Northeast. There has not been any attempt for the Northeastern people to improve themselves under the UPA dispensation, but we hear them talk about the Northeast occasionally. We also understand that Donia has been diluted. I am not sure whether it is a political vindictiveness which guides that, but I wouldn't sit on judgment on the fact, but the Donia has been diluted. Nothing much is happening through it, nor did they come up with an effective alternative. So, in the light of the Northeastern states, the 8 states, beginning to go to polls from 7th April, we certainly, through this media press conference, appeal to the people of the Northeast to go in detail to look into the ways in which the NDA dealt with the Northeast. You are suffering under the neglect of the UPA. I don't need to underline that fact again, but the media certainly can see and compare and contrast between the two and their functions, and then allow the people of Northeast to take a very discerning call, which I'm sure they would do. With the special emphasis on Northeast, I wouldn't want to take on other issues, but two proactively I would like to flag off, and of course in case you want to ask me questions on it, I shall. One was on a PTI copy which has come out from Chicago, which is very important from the point of view of underlining the Congress's corruption again, and the Congress's attempt to somehow subvert any investigation which may be possible. You may do that in India, but you are now having very many more issues coming up from abroad. A member of the Rajya Sabha, Shri KVP Ramchandra Rao, a Congress member, who was very close and very powerful during the first 5 years in Andhra Pradesh of the Congress government starting 2004, has been charged with a very big corruption ring, wherein mine and extraction of mine rights have been given, as alleged in this case, for some money and monetary considerations. If a powerful person who continues to be the member of the Congress was indeed involved in it, and a Chicago court has taken serious cognizance of it, isn't it the time for Srimati Sonia Gandhi to answer about what is the extent of corruption tolerance in the Congress party? They give us lectures about they are the ones who are committed to clearing corruption. Here is a case now very seriously in Chicago court of somebody who was very close and very powerful in the first 5 years of the Congress government in Andhra Pradesh. He's still your party's Rajya Sabha member. Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, please let us know, and also the Vice President of the Congress Party, tell us what is your level of tolerance of corruption. An international court has come up with it. We'd like to hear your answer on that matter.